Excuse me, could you point me in the direction of Scream City? Never mind. I think I found it.
Hello, horror freaks. Welcome back to Scream City. I'm your host, Monica.
And I'm Jessica, and today we will be discussing yet another classic, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 1974.
Yep. But before, of course, we jump into the movie, we are going to get through our peak and our pit of the past few days. So what has been your peak and your pit?
Peak. Okay, well, let's start with the pit.
Okay.
Pit is, I have post-TFW depression.
Yeah.
It happens every year. This one's not as bad as, like, previous years.
Okay.
But I miss it. I miss my fellow horror freaks. I miss being in a setting or in the same place as people who understand my love for horror.
And enjoy all of the
You
things.
know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, you can see something really disturbing at a booth, and then you're like, oh my god, that's so cool. And then some random is, like, behind you, and you're like, that is cool.
Yeah, right.
And then you thank the person for making that disturbing thing, and you're like, this is awesome. They're like, thanks.
Awesome. Yeah.
It's a whole, like...
It's a whole community.
It's a whole community, and it's a whole exchange.
Yeah. But anyway, so that's... Oh, and I guess, I went back to work. I went back to reality.
That's your peak?
My pit.
That's your pit,
still
yeah.
Still in my pit.
It's pretty sad.
Yeah. Yeah. Yesterday, I went. I did a full 12-hour shift yesterday, and I was ready to end it all.
I'm good.
Ready to end it all.
Absolutely.
But anyway, my peak is that we have another convention lined up pretty soon.
Yeah.
And we are I'm very excited.
Yeah.
Very excited.
Yeah, I am too. I am excited. I think that's going to be my peak for this weekend as well. I know I'm not going all 3 days, but I'm still excited to... I did go to all 3 days last year, but we're only going 1 day this year. But I'm still really excited about it, and looking forward to seeing... because I know this one is going to be a lot bigger, so there's going to be a lot more to see. So we do plan on being there from basically open to close. Mm-hmm. So my pit, I don't know. I think mine's more of this. We're starting to get really busy at work, so I'm extremely tired physically. Like yesterday, I was at the grocery store. I was walking around, so like my feet hurt.
It's Carvo season. It's everything season in the summer.
Season, so yeah, I'm just really tired, but I mean, it is what it is. You know, I got to make my money somehow. So
right.
But yeah, so let's go ahead and move it on.
Yeah. But finally getting into this movie a little bit. Again, if you haven't had the chance to watch this movie,
yes,
just to know that, as always, there will be spoilers, so don't say we didn't warn you.
Yeah.
Okay?
Don't be coming for us.
Mm-hmm. So, to give a quick synopsis, again, for those of you who haven't watched it or just want a quick refresher, and this is coming straight from the internet, 5 friends head out to rural Texas to visit the grave of a grandfather. On the way, they stumble across what appears to be a deserted house, only to discover something sinister within. Something armed with a chainsaw.
First of all, I can't believe they called him and them.
Right.
Maybe he's they them.
Oh.
Ally.
Ally.
I mean, yeah, so with that being said, we're going to go ahead and, dive into the episode by listing off our 3 picks for this movie. So your favorite scene, your first impression, and your favorite kill. So with that, Jess, what are your 3?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So my first impression. So, okay, I thought I've watched this before. Oh, and I don't doubt that I maybe have. Mm-hmm. I just, when I was rewatching it again, I was like, have I watched this before? Anyway.
Yeah.
So again, I'm going to consider this my first time watching it just because I really can't remember if I did or not. I was probably way too young. But all I can say for this movie is, what the fuck did I watch?
Right.
But I say this in like a Terrifier kind of way.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I liked it. Like, I don't really have any big complaints about it. Honestly, for it to have been made in the 70s,
it's pretty fucked up.
It's gross.
Yeah.
It is gross, and it satisfied my gory needs.
Yes.
Which is what I always like and what I always look for, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And
true.
this is so random, but I don't know why. And maybe it's just because I watched it like in my dark room
Right.
by my lonesome because my sister decided to bail on me and not watch it with me because she's fake. But yeah, I don't know if it's because I was watching it by myself in the dark-ish and it was also morning time, but I felt like I was like in the movie. But I don't know if I'm saying that just because I'm also from like I live in Texas,
Right. So you kind of just...
and I'm just like represent. You know what I mean?
the representation.
The representation.
Okay.
Anyway, so yeah, that was my first impression. Overall, it was gross. It was
Yeah.
gory.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Pretty disgusting.
My favorite scene. This is so basic. But I love this iconic scene where the camera follows Pam when she gets off the swing and into the house.
Yes.
It's just, first of all, she's giving body.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I think that's one of the things that I was going to mention later when we kind of discuss our favorite moments. I loved Pam's outfit. It is so stinking cute. It's slay. It's giving summer.
It's giving
It's
summer.
giving summer in the 70s.
Right.
And like long, pretty strawberry type of blonde hair. Like,
Yeah.
continue.
Love it. So yeah, I know it's such an iconic scene, but honestly, the scenes in general in any movie where the camera follows a character, kind of like Knives Out, it's just like chef's kiss.
True.
It's just
True.
amazing.
I love it.
Yeah. So I really like that scene. I know there's a bunch of other like cinematic or pretty cool scenes, but
Yeah.
I liked that one the most. My favorite kill. So I don't really know if this is kind of considered the thing that killed her. I mean, I'm assuming maybe, but
I think so.
but I think I'm also gonna go with another Pam scene, which is Pam's kill. Leatherface did her dirty because
100%.
he took advantage of the fact that her back was exposed. Okay,
Yeah, that's even worse.
that was
She had not a
gross.
layer of a
She
t-shirt,
literally-
sweater, nothing.
nothing, just
bare
straight
skin.
on raw.
Yeah.
Just straight on.
Yeah.
With no nothing. But yeah, the way that he hooks her onto the hook, that shit. Number one, fucked up.
Yes. 100%.
Number two, I know that shit hearted.
Oh, 100%. It looked disgusting. I was actually going to choose that also as a kill, but I know what you mean because later on we see her pop out of
In
the
the
freezer,
freezer.
and he just muffs her back in there. And I was like, rude.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I would consider it. It looked pretty disgusting and
Yeah.
awful. So
And I mean, I can't imagine living after that.
especially
You know what I mean?
through that. Fuck that. What if he hit a nerve? What if he hit her spinal cord?
Oof.
She's a vegetable after that. That's sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Anyway, what about you?
Well, my first impression, so I had watched this movie a long time ago. I did watch the 2003 version first. Like, that was the first ever Texas Chainsaw movie I've ever seen. And then after that, I kind of explored a little bit more, and then I watched the original. But it was so long ago. So, but I didn't remember a lot of it. I mostly had remember, like, the quote-unquote scarier or gore scenes, like Pam's, like, hook onto the meat hook, and the way that Franklin died, too. I remember that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty sad. But then I watched it again last night, and my main thought is, like, this movie's kind of slow. It's a little slow. And I'm going to be fully honest when I say that I was comparing it to the 2003 version the entire time. Because that version, to me, is just so much better in my eyes. However, I do appreciate this, like, classic. I love me a good old 70s horror. Everyone looks very sweaty and musty. Very gross. But overall, it's a really good movie. I like it. I can definitely see why it's such a beloved, like, classic film. My favorite scene is literally the very end when Leatherface is dancing. Well, it looked like he was dancing. He was just swinging.
He was just swinging
his little chainsaw around. A little silly, goofy guy. And, like, it's just a killer in his chainsaw. He almost caught them, but he didn't. And it was pretty funny because how the guy, like, threw the wrench at his head and then he fell and then he, like, almost sawed his leg off.
Yeah.
It was pretty scary. And then after that, he was just like, fuck, damn. Now, my favorite kill, I was going to go with Pam's, and then I thought about it, and I was like, no, I really liked Franklin's. But then, again, kind of combining it with the end, is I really had a hard time choosing at the very end because I was like, bruh. I even really liked Kirk's at the very beginning, how he had a surprise kill.
His was very like, boom, like straight to the point, very simple.
Yeah, and
lights
I thought
on,
it
no
was
one's
good.
home.
Yeah, I thought it was a good like first kill. I can only imagine what people were thinking in the 70s watching this.
Oh yeah,
so
I can't imagine.
But I do like the brothers / the hitchhiker, how he got ran over, and we saw every bit of that. That was awful. But that's what he gets for trying to catch Sally.
Period.
So shout out to her for being one of the OG
Final girls.
The OG, final
Scream
girls.
Queen.
The scream. Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
The entire time so that chase scene, where he's like chasing her throughout the woods, I felt like that scene was a whole 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was just her going,
yeah.
And I was like, okay.
Which, like, okay.
Like, I feel like at some point you gotta get tired of screaming.
Number one. But number two, why scream? And, like, I know this is just a movie, but I know that
Especially
this happens in real life, too.
Yeah.
But, like, why scream when you're being chased? Because your footsteps, I'm sure, are already loud enough.
Absolutely.
And if you scream, he's going to be like, oh, she's right here. Or they're right there,
well,
you know?
And that's also something that we were talking about, because, like, she's screaming while she's running. And I'm like, if you get far enough, like, and if you hide and shut the fuck up, he won't find you.
Exactly.
Or at least he'll struggle to find you.
Right.
But you're making it so obvious.
Right. So, let this only be advice to real world scenarios.
Right.
Because we need our scream queens in our
you know what?
horror
That's
movies.
actually 100% true. We understand that especially our gore, like type of horror movies, we need the yells, we need the screams.
Like Jenna Ortega's iconic Scream.
Oh my gosh, yes.
In freaking X.
Dead.
That was amazing.
I love that
Absolutely
so much.
amazing. Yeah.
I'm obsessed. Yeah, so anyway, I guess going into that, we'll just kind of discuss some favorite moments and just some things that we liked about the film. So, I think what makes this, like, the theme of Texas Chainsaw so uncomfortable is the fact that they're butchers. So it's like it kind of goes into like the meat industry.
Right. And cannibalism. And the way that they treat like humans the same way that people treat like cows and pigs and like, you know, people in the slaughterhouse. And I think that's what makes it so uncomfortable. I think there's something so eerie and disgusting about cannibalism, but then combined with like meat factories and like, I don't know, it's just so really gross and disturbing. Like the scene where Franklin is describing how cows get killed in a slaughterhouse, and it kept showing like flashes of like cows inside a slaughterhouse. I was very scared that I was going to see a cow getting killed, but they didn't show it, thankfully. And I was like, see, don't get me wrong, I'm no vegan. No,
I do like me my chicken, and I like me some little red meats here and there.
Right.
I can't help that cows taste so good.
Right.
But I cry internally with every bite. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
no, 100%.
Yeah.
Because they're cute little animals.
Yeah.
Every time, especially here in Texas, every time we're going down south or anywhere.
You're going down the highway and you just see cows on the side.
You'll just see a little cow. Shit. I'm not even kidding. There's a ranch like 5 minutes away from my house. And they don't have cows, I think, but they have like little donkeys and they have little goats. Yeah. I saw a goat at work yesterday.
Oh,
it was a cute little thing, and I said, I know he would be a good stew. I'm sorry.
I can't help it.
I
can't help it. Yeah. Y'all, I'm sorry. Peter, don't come for us.
That number one, I'm Mexican. Okay, so boom.
We have a lot of
red flag
meats.
number one.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry that my parents decided to move to Texas.
Yeah.
AKA the land of the barbecue.
Right. Yeah, literally.
So
I can't help it. You know, I can't get away from it. I understand it's a circle of life. You know, it is what it is. I've unfortunately desensitized to some things like this, but it's still sad. So when I saw that in the movie, I was ready to look away, but I didn't have to. So I appreciate that. But anyway, I think that's one of the things that also makes this, like Texas Chainsaw specifically, sort of unique. Because we get a lot of different types of horror movies that go into like cannibalism and like a butcher, you know, cannibalizing humans, but it's like Texas Chainsaw did I would maybe consider it the OG, and then that's where it kind of branched off.
Because that's disgusting.
This came
before Halloween, and it came before, was it Black Christmas?
I think so. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
oh,
it-
yeah.
it
I think
really
almost around that time.
Genuinely is one of the, like, OG slashers.
It's like the thought of him, and then, like, it's the thought of, I can't explain it, but it's just very disturbing and disgusting.
Absolutely.
And I think it's the fact that he has, like, he's faceless, technically, but he uses his victims'
Right.
faces as, like, masks.
And, okay,
AKA Leatherface.
And a thing that I wanted to mention is, do you think Leatherface is a victim?
Okay, that was actually something that I think I
think I saw
noted
it.
later on that, and I'm like, not him being scared of his pow-pow. I'm like, sir, first of all, you are twice his size.
Right.
You could easily beat him. Second of all, that dad, abusive as hell. And I'm like, yes, I do think that he's okay. I don't know how to easily put this in there without it sounding like if whatever, but I also think they're inbred.
I think so too, yeah.
I think so. So I don't think that helps. So I think he had some type of mental
I was
disorder as
going
well.
to say as well that, because I feel like there's some scenes where he's like, I love doing this, and there's some scenes that I feel like he's like, I don't want to keep doing this.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's like being forced by his
dad.
dad.
It also sounded, but like at the end, whenever they were all at the table, it kind of sounded like it was some family tradition.
Yeah.
Because they were saying how Grandpa is like the best killer in
Yeah,
town
I
because he
remember
did
that.
it so quickly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the fuck?
So-
But Grandpa was looking a little. He was looking a little like death. Death wasn't even knocking. Death was ready to bang down that door.
Death was standing right next to him.
Yep, absolutely. He was just waiting.
He already came into the house.
He's already inside the house. He's just lurking.
Yeah.
He's just lurking for the right moment.
Right.
Yeah, that grandpa looked really shitty, but I don't know. I do know, and I do believe that Leatherface and like Texas Chainsaw, I think, is like they were inspired by Ed Gein, right?
Yes.
Right? Yes. So I know that Texas Chainsaw also kind of has its inspirations of like something that actually happened here in Texas. Or is it even in Texas? I don't really know.
I don't know, but real quick, if I'm not mistaken, Ed, didn't he turn corpses into like furniture?
I think so. And I think
did
that's
some-
one of the
some
scenes
crazy
that we
like
kind
that.
of get. There's
Yeah.
like bones on the way that the bones are placed on a bench, like inside the house in the movie. It looked very like, ooh. Yeah. No, yeah, I don't know. I think that's also another thing that makes this movie just a little more eerie and disturbing because it's like, it's very unfortunate, but this happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Like, I feel like he didn't really get, he lives in a small town.
Yeah.
I'm sure they don't go to school.
No.
Okay, so he doesn't know difference between right and wrong.
He doesn't.
He's just a sweet little baby boy. I'm just kidding.
He's just a sweet little baby boy. He don't know what he doing. He don't know the Pythagorean theorem, no nothing.
He don't know PEMDAS.
He don't know PEM does.
He don't know that the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell.
He really don't. And you know who's to blame him for that? His daddy and his ugly ass dead grandpa.
Number one, see, this is where daddy issues come in.
Oh, 100%.
This movie shows you that daddy issues fuck with you
So bad.
anyway.
In any way, no matter what type of disorder you have or don't have, like
Yeah. See,
daddy issues
Leatherface,
gonna get
his
you.
daddy issues got him to be a killer.
Yeah.
My daddy issues got me to like an older man.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. 100%. And I think mine got me to be like trust no one,
Period.
trust nothing and no one.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
honestly, yeah, I agree. He's just a sweet little baby boy.
He's old little baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that set for him for the rest of the franchise that come up with him? Probably not.
Probably not.
But
you know
OG
what?
OG him,
OG him.
he don't know.
Just sweet little baby boy.
Yeah. He thought he was playing like cat and mouse with
Yeah.
Sally. He was just having fun.
He was just chasing her because he was trying to have a friend.
Yeah.
And she was running away because she was like, oh my God, this man's trying to kill me. But he's like, no,
He's
I'm
like,
just trying to be
"No."
your friend.
Yeah, I'm just trying to be your friend. You don't know, girl. It's pretty lonely out here.
And then she's like, okay, well, explain everyone else. And he's like, well, don't worry about that. Don't worry. That's
Don't worry about your friends.
because they don't have the spark that I see in you.
No, absolutely
You know
not.
what I mean? Anyway,
No, yeah.
real quick, they are so ableist to my
Ableist?
homeboy Franklin.
Bro, oh my gosh. The way that they
Like-
just left him
They left him so many times. I'm like, y'all are so fucked up.
There's the scene where he's like by himself and he's just blowing raspberries for like 3 minutes straight because he's like, fuck you guys for leaving me here. They're like, it's gonna be so fun, we want you to come with us.
Then fucking take him. Like, oh my god,
they just left him there.
So
They really are ableist. He deserved better friends.
he sure did.
He really did.
He deserved a better ending
He
as
sure did.
well. R.I.P.
We need to visit the gas station.
We do.
We need to take a little roadie trip, visit the gas station, and I think they also have the house.
I think they do too.
But I think it's like blocked off.
It's blocked off, and it's like miles away from like an actual street, but you can still see it. It looks like a little brick. But
like a little,
you know what? We're gonna take a picture
in.
with that brick.
You look on
just
camera and
zoom
just
in.
zoom in a little bit. Yeah. I thought about that, and I was like, oh my gosh, they actually have this out there somewhere, and I want to go visit it.
And it's in our state.
And it's in our state. That's one of the only fortunate things of living in Texas. So we get to see things like houses and mansions. Because I know they also have the mansion from the 2003 version somewhere here in Texas.
Oh.
So we need to visit that one.
Okay.
That one's like also yards away. It's like blocked off. But
yeah, the gas station. I know the gas station typically holds like...
yes,
or
it's kind of like an
hosts,
Airbnb.
like, something.
My brother-in-law and my sister have gone to it, and I think they said either the house is like an Airbnb and you can visit the gas station, or vice versa. I don't really know, but either way, you can go in and you can actually order food and eat there. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if I would trust the food.
Eat me some friend stew.
Some who?
Friend.
Okay.
Friend. Friend stew.
Friend is for you and me. Or you, yeah. Anyway.
Okay. One last thing before I mention two things. First of all,
okay.
When the father found Sally and he was about to kidnap her, agarró la escoba and started beating her ass. And I was like, girl, if you don't grab that broom.
Number one, but number two, that was a little triggering because coming from a Mexican family.
I was like, this man have Mexican? He have Mexican.
he have Mexican for sure.
I was like, not this man beating her with the broom and then continuously pokes her in the car or in the truck. And she's just like,
it's just so funny.
And he's like poking her.
Like, bro, just grab the end of the stick and fucking shove them in. Yeah,
and yank his ass.
Lo único que le faltaba fue la chancla.
No.
Shit.
It wasn't far. That chancla was not far. I was like, this man did not. I was like, that's annoying. I know I said two more things.
Okay.
Letherface got wigs. He saw this night as a special event, and he went out to Sephora in Ulta and came back with the full beat face.
100%.
For dinner.
He went to Sephora or Ulta, whichever one, which I feel like Leatherface would be like an Ulta girly.
Yeah.
You know, because they have a little bit of everything.
I can just imagine him in aisles with like...
yeah, like looking at the products and all that.
Yeah, testing them a little bit.
He went to Ulta and he sat down with the makeup artist.
And he's like, so listen.
And the hairdresser.
Yes.
And said, I have a very special event going on tonight.
He's like, we're hosting a dinner.
And I need you... A dinner, yeah. I need you to make me serve slay everything. Slay, serve cunt, everything.
I need to serve it and slay everything. Literally. Literally slay.
I am serving dinner and I'm slaying the dinner.
Yeah, like as I'm doing it, but I need to look the part. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they did him right with that blue eyeshadow, that pink ass blush, and the red lippy. They did him great. I noticed that he was wearing two different wigs. The first one was more of like a bob.
Is it okay?
Yeah. The Nicki Minaj song about the bobs.
Yeah.
This is why they calling me Bob. And it was like a curly black sort of bob looking wig.
It's cute.
Then the second one was more of a grandma because it had like gray hair in it, and then it had like a little bun at the end.
Right.
Or no, I'm thinking of the opposite. Sorry. When he first shows up, it was in a grandma type of like bun hair. But the second time is when he has the makeup on and he has the...
Is it my fault for being done?
Having the Nicki Minaj bob. And he slayed.
Yeah.
He slayed and he looked good. I love that for him. Last thing. Is that I really... So something that I think that I can only imagine what people in the 70s were thinking, is the way that they wrap the story all around. So they encounter the brother first, the hitchhiker. Then we kind of get rid of him and we move on. Then we encounter Leatherface, where he does the whole terrorizing, chasing, killing people. And then we kind of shy away from him for a little bit after Sally escapes, and just for her to fall back into their trap again. Because, I mean, I'm guessing it's like a triangle. Like, it's all within the same area. And how she encounters the dad, and the dad is like, it's okay, there's no one here for you. And then, boom, he kidnaps her and then takes him back. And then we just find out that they're all related. And I just think that that's, like, really cool. And I can only imagine what people who were watching this back in the 70s were like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, yeah. Given we knew this because we've seen this movie before, and there are many versions of it now. But it's pretty cool. Yeah. I like the way that they did the storyline of that. So,
me too. Yeah. I always love me a good plot twist.
Yeah.
A very good plot twist.
Yeah, I do too. And I like the way that they did all that together. Yeah. So, enough. Moving on. So we're going to go ahead and mention the cast now. Listing off our members, we have Marilyn Burns, who plays Sally. We have Terry McMinn, who plays Pam. We have Gunnar Hansen, who plays Leatherface. We have Edwin Neal, who plays Nubbins. Then we have Paul A. Partain, who plays Franklin. We have James Cito, who plays Drayton. Then we have Alan Danziger, who plays Jerry. We have William Vale, who plays Kirk, and we have many others, but those are the main ones that we see on the screen.
Yes, and since this movie is a little bit older, we were going to start doing this with movies and shows that have unfortunately lost some of their cast and crew. So we're going to do a little memoriam.
Yes.
We lost Marilyn Burns, who plays Sally, Gunnar Hansen, who plays Leatherface, Paul Allen Partain, who plays Franklin, Jim Cito, who plays Drayton, and of course many more that just weren't named or, listed from the cast and crew.
But some of the main ones that we see on the screen are no longer with us, which is very sad. But given this is a pretty old movie, and they were like in their 20s, I assume, when they filmed this. So yeah, it's really sad. OG Leatherface no longer with us. One of our OG final girls also no longer with us.
Yeah, R.I.P.
So R.I.P. R.I.P.
To get a few of the fun facts out of the way. First one is Marilyn Burns, whose character was chased by Leatherface through the undergrowth, actually cut herself on the branches quite badly, so a lot of the blood on her body and clothes is real.
Oh my gosh, that is so sad. I can only imagine how hard it was to run through all of that, because Leatherface was just chopping everything down.
Yeah.
He had himself an advantage.
She was so committed.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Love her.
The second one says, the soundtrack contains no sounds from musical instruments, with the exception of some copyrighted music that they had the rights to. Instead, ready for this, they used sounds an animal would hear inside a slaughterhouse.
Oh my gosh, that is so sad. See, now that makes me want to go back and watch this movie and actually listen, but I don't know if I want to listen to that.
Yeah.
That's really sad.
I know.
But again, it adds to the effect of the theme of a butcher and meat house, slaughterhouse.
This last one actually kind of correlates with the first one that I mentioned. It says, even in his lift boots, Gunnar Hansen, Leatherface, could run faster than Marilyn Burns, so he had to do random things when chasing her through the woods. You'll notice in one head-on shot that he starts slicing up tree branches in the background.
Yes, I did see that actually. I saw that. I was like, he's very close to you. Like, if he tried just to even reach out a hand, he would grab you really easily. And I did notice that scene too, because I was like, this man's just chopping shit down out of his way. I was like, he's just trying to get to you, and she looks like she's struggling.
Right.
So, that's cool. So, we're nearing towards the end of our episode. A little tail end. So, I think it's at a perfect time for us to do a little
Would You Rather?
Yeah. So, for this would you rather be trapped in a room with a deranged hitchhiker, or be trapped inside Leatherface's workshop, surrounded by his tools and remains of his victims?
That's a great question, Diane.
That's a great question, Diane, actually.
So, okay. I feel like this would be an obvious answer, right? Like, okay, we could just...
Like, take the easy way out. Are you thinking, like, hitchhiker would be easier?
No, I was thinking his workshop would be easier.
Oh.
Because no one's in there. I mean, there are people, but they're not alive.
Right, but they're not alive.
But I that was my original thought. I was like, that might be a little bit easier.
Okay.
But you also have the risk of him coming in, and it's just gross.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah. All right.
That's gross.
Understood.
And then the deranged hitchhiker, he was skinny. I could find him
Could
off.
have taken him.
I could have taken him.
That's true. Again, I feel like with the hitchhiker, out crazy the crazy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Take your clothes off.
Take your clothes off, run at him full speed, naked. And he just might bat an eye. But that split second where he bats an eye and he doubts whether he can take you on or not.
Right.
Just keep going. Mm-hmm. Keep going. And I think that he'll probably back off.
Yeah.
But being trapped inside Leatherface's workshop, I think would be scarier. But I guess you're right. Like, there wouldn't be anyone in there.
Right. I mean, I guess you just...
But it also depends on how you're trapped in there.
Right.
Like, are you tied down? Are you on a meat hook? Are you in a freezer? That's kind of... That's my thing where I'm like, why am I in his workshop? Like, did I stumble upon it? But then how did I get trapped? You know what I mean?
Like, maybe you can't open the doors because there's, like, a specific lock or something.
Okay. Is it too late to become Leatherface's friend?
Like,
what if I tell him I'll be the one to talk, you be the one to kill?
Right.
Which is what I think the duo of like him and his brother were.
Yeah.
Because his brother was like, me and Leatherface do all the work, and Dad's just a cook or something like that. And his dad got all mad.
I think I would rather be trapped inside his workshop, surrounded by his tools and the remains of his victims.
Okay.
Because I am already traumatized enough. And a little rotting corpse being right next to me
ain't gonna be nothing.
Okay.
All right. I like the idea. But I really do feel like a deranged hitchhiker would be easier. So I'm going to take my easy way route, and I'm going to choose the hitchhiker, and I'm going to just start swinging.
Okay.
I'm going to just start swinging.
Mm-hmm.
I've been told I have a heavy hand for someone who's pretty small, so I'm going to use it to my advantage.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So.
I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Love that. Great.
All right. So now that before we end the episode fully, we are going to go ahead and rate this horror movie. So we do have our two scales, our satisfactory and our scary scale. Just because a movie is good doesn't always mean it's scary, and vice versa. Jessica, what do you rate this movie?
Yeah. So, scary. Honestly.
Scary. Pretty scary?
Pretty scary.
Pretty scary.
But only because, like, I feel like I always find a way to say but. Yeah, so scary. It is pretty scary. It's gross. It's gruesome. It's gory. I like it. So scary, I'm going to give it like a 7 out of 10.
Okay. Is that higher than what you gave The Exorcist? Or is that about the same?
I think it's about the same.
They're both around the same year.
Yeah.
74.
Yeah. But they're two different things. Like,
they're
one is
two different
slasher and
types
the
of
other one
horror.
is
That's
possession.
true. That's true. Okay.
And I love me a good slasher. Possessions
True.
are the ones that I'm like, oh my god. I mean, I love them, like, with all my heart.
Right.
One of my favorites. But anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. Scary, 7 out of 10. 7.5 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Satisfactory, 8 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
What about
You know what? I think I'm gonna have to agree. I think my scary scale is more of a 6.
Okay.
But it's the same thing. I think for a 70s movie, this movie is pretty gruesome and it's pretty up there with like the horror elements, and especially for a slasher, it's amazing. My satisfactory scale, I think mine's more of a 7 or an 8. I really enjoyed the film. Actually, no, I'm gonna bump it down because I can't help but compare it to the 2003 version, and the 2003 version has a special place in my heart that traumatized me at such a young age.
Right.
That for me is like a 9 for satisfactory and scary.
Okay.
This one is bumped down, so
Okay.
they're both. Satisfactory is more of a 6 or 7,
Okay. Sure.
and a 6 for scary.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah, but I mean, it did its job, and it's still pretty scary. I just couldn't help but laugh at some of the parts because I was like, what? Also, she jumped out of a window twice. She did not hesitate. And I just thought it was so funny the way that that was just her instinct. It's just to, but she jumped out of a window twice, and I thought that was so funny. Yeah. But anyway.
Good for her.
Okay, sounds good. Well, I think this concludes our episode on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1974. Since we're nearing the end. But as always, we did have a blast recording this. And if today's episode intrigued you and you haven't watched this movie before, you are able to watch this movie for free on Tubi, I think it's on, Peacock, Pluto TV, the Roku channel, Plex, or Amazon Prime Video. Or you can purchase or rent it for $2.99 on YouTube, Apple TV, Vudu, and Google Play Movies and TV. And thanks again, of course, to everyone tuning in and listening. We truly appreciate all of you. And if you want to keep up with us, we will have all of our social media in the summary description.
Yes. And I know we sound like broken records.
Yes.
But it seriously does mean so much to us knowing that we have support from you guys. And, you know, as always, thanks for listening and just for the support in general.
Yeah, it feels amazing to be able to reach out to you guys. But with that being said, please tune in to next week's episode where we continue our Summer Lovin' for horror with a true 90s film, I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Look
1997.
Me in the eyes, your lover.
What?
I said, look me in the eyes, my lover.
Look me in the eyes, my lover. Yeah.
There.
Okay.
97.
I like this movie.
Yeah.
I like it. I can definitely tell that it was kind of like a branch off or like a matching theme to Scream. Mm-hmm. But it's because Scream is that bitch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
She's that bitch.
Like, she's definitely going to...
And no one can ever replace her.
Absolutely not. And you know that she ran so the rest of the bitches could walk.
Right.
And that's exactly what I Know What You Did Last Summer is.
Yes.
So... But I like this movie. Mm-hmm. I mentioned it to you earlier, but Ryan Phillippe, fine as hell.
Yeah.
That man, beautiful. And I love him in a lot of things.
They have a pretty good cast, and I'm really excited.
I love the cast in this movie,
too.
Actually. I truly
It's been
love
a second since I watched it. I know, I kid you not, I know that this movie's one of the movies that my sister and I used to watch every summer.
Yeah, it's a good one.
So, I'm very excited.
I'm excited for this one, too. I love this movie so much, and I can't wait to rewatch it.
Same.
But, yeah. Before we end it, Jessica, do you think that this week's movie was a movie?
I believe that this week's movie, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 1974, is a movie.
I thought it was a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it truly was a movie. And I loved it.
It was a movie.
Well, there you guys have it. Thank you guys again for tuning in. We will talk to you guys next week. And as always, we've been your hosts, Monica.
And Jessica.
Stay safe.
And stay spooky.
Oof, that was scary. I can't wait to come back next week.